So that was it was a long award show. It was supposed to be 2 hours and ended up being almost 2.5. And I think they ended up with some more stuff in here than they may have originally planned. But you know what? It was okay. Um, Now Ted Lindsay wins the Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid wins the Ted Lindsay Award, and that was huge. Connor McDavid winning that means that the players are saying he's the best player in the league, and that's awesome. He wins the Art Ross. He's the first back-to-back since Yager won the last of his 4 straight Art Ross trophies. And he wins his second before age 22, joining only Wayne Gretzky in that category. So, yeah, Connor McDavid is the best player in the league, but who's the most valuable? We'll get to that. The Jennings goes to Jonathan Quick and Jack Campbell. So this is for best goals against average among teams. So the team with the lowest goals against average, their goaltenders get this trophy, meaning Jack Campbell gets a trophy after playing 5 games? Who knows? It's a good thing to have on a resume. Might bring up his self-confidence a little bit. Anyways, so that award being is, it's nice to see Jonathan Quick get something after this season. He played fantastic. Norris Trophy goes to Victor Hedman, and no surprise there. I wasn't surprised by that at all. I think Hedman was really and truly the best defenseman in the league this year, and I don't think I'm going to be stepping on anybody's toes by saying it. Then the King Clancy Trophy goes to the Sedin twins. Awesome. I did speculate against them when I was talking about trophies, but I'm glad they won it. I'm very glad they won it. They got a nice ovation from the crowd when they won it, and these guys have been excellent leaders in Vancouver, not just on the ice, but off the ice as well. And it's nice to see them get recognized on way out the door, and that they get recognized together is even more special about it. I mean, they could have gone with Henrik, and I think we would have been alright with it, but to have Henrik and Daniel both there together, it's a fantastic way to go out. Very moving, very nice to see. Speaking of moving, they then did a vignette on the Stoneman Douglas hockey team, who had members of the team there tonight. Of course, Stoneman Douglas and Parkland. They talked about Roberto Luongo. Luongo was out there as well, and that was moving. And it was the start of let's go over the tragedies that occurred this year. It was a rough year, and honestly, this coming season, it'd be nice if we didn't have to talk about tragedies in the world of hockey. But they touch the world of hockey because sports has a way of binding a community together, and sports is one common thread that whether you're a liberal or conservative, wherever you are, you're all sports fans together. So it tends to be that sports will reach out, as hockey did during all of these tragedies, to try to help the community and help people in the community. And it shows, and this isn't just a hockey thing, it happened with every sport. So I'm not just saying, hockey players are the greatest in the world. No, every sport will do this kind of thing, and it's one of the nice things about being a sports fan that makes me happy, is to see this kind of thing going on. And it was a very moving tribute to Stoneman Douglas. It was nice to see the players there. Then the Calder Trophy is the least surprising of all of them. I think everybody expected Barzal to win it, and I had him written on the board before they announced it, because to me, I didn't see that anybody else was necessarily close. Besser would have been if he'd played every game, but he missed a lot of games. Keller would have been if he'd consistently scored the way that he did at points this year. Now, whether or not Barzal emerges 5 years from now still being the best from this rookie class, that's a whole other debate. But Barzal absolutely deserved this award, and it was nice to see the kid get this. And it was nice that he was up on stage with the Stoneman Douglas kids, and that was a nice touch. Then the Vegas show starts. Now this is in Vegas, so the Lady Byng going to William Karlsson. He is the first winner of a trophy for a player from an inaugural team, so first year team, since Wayne Gretzky did it with the Edmonton Oilers his first year. But he won the Art Ross and the Hart that year. So, bit of a difference between that and the Lady Byng, but you know what? That's fine. Carlson, very, I don't know, he seemed very humble and very quiet for William Carlson at tonight's award. But it was nice to see him win it. Now, in another category where the trophy wasn't a surprise, Masterton goes to Brian Boyle. And there's, I know there's people who don't like Brian Boyle for his behavior on the ice during the playoffs, but you know what? Brian Boyle off the ice, and the Brian Boyle I saw up there on stage tonight, really nice, humble guy. And it was moving with him too. That was kind of sort of fantastic. Then they bring out the hockey kids to present the NHL 19 cover winner, to reveal it, and it's PK. So I want to say the Bar Down guys, but anyways, it was kind of odd, to be honest. When I saw that, and I thought, Shannon, your channel's at 48,000, and if you ever get invited to an award show, just say no, because it was weird. And then I had further proof later on that if I ever got invited to go on stage and talk, just say no, just don't. And no insult meant to those guys at all. It was just kind of weird. And I like their videos that they do where they're on the ice and they're hamming it up, and they're fun to watch. But here it just seemed kind of odd. So PK Subban went up and he said some nice things about his cover shot. All of the cover shots I've noticed seem to kind of look the same with the goal celebrations. And I started thinking, you could probably just take that body and just wipe out whoever's face and whoever's jersey, and then just next year just paste in whoever else's face and jersey. Because the covers tend to look kind of the same. Anyways, that's just me. Then the awkward. So if you thought this was awkward, they brought out some card trick guy that I've never heard of. And I'm sorry, I'm sure in Vegas he's big, but I've never seen him before. And he reveals the Selke Trophy winner, Anze Kopitar, and he does all these cards, everything's all fantastic. And then when he's revealing the winner, he puts all these cards down, but you could see parts of the guy's picture, so you could kind of tell it was Anze Kopitar, but they weren't all coming off the deck in order, so I'm not sure if that was a botch or not. I don't know if they were all supposed to come off in order so that it formed his picture and could go, Anze Kopitar. For whatever reason, it looked like, those things you get where you got the one empty square and you just move everything around, and then you're like, all right, now solve this. That's what it looked like he did with the cards. So it was weird, because you could see Anze standing up like, I'm going up now, then? Can I, because you're trying to put my picture together, do I wait for that, or... So Anze goes up there and gave a nice speech, and every time a guy went up tonight, they gave a nice speech where they recognized the other guys who were nominated and said, hey, you should be up here, not me, but I'm up here, so ha. I think Kopitar winning is a nice recognition of the year he had. He's the first LA King to score as many points as he did this year since '94, when the Great One did it. So he had a very good season. Kind of easy to forget when you look at what happened in the playoffs, but if you look at the regular season, Kopitar was fantastic. Then they had the vignette about the Vegas shooting and how it brought the city and the team together, and it was very well done. And it kind of kicked off the next Vegas portion of the show. They bring everybody up on stage. They talk about their role in the community. They talk a lot to Derek England about what he had done and his outreach and his connection to the city of Vegas. It was honestly very, very well done. But again, I really hope next year we don't have all this tragedy stuff to talk about, because really, I want more awkward and less tragic. Gerard Gallant then wins the Adams. So while he's still on stage, they give Gerard Gallant the Adams for best coach, surprising no one. So now Vegas has 2 awards. And then Mark Messier comes out with the guys from Letterkenny who played the hockey players. And I'm not sure whether it's because they had to be PG, so they couldn't talk the way they normally talk on Letterkenny, or what it was. But they seemed uncomfortable. Maybe they were starstruck with Mark Messier. Like, why are we out here with Mark Messier? But that's why I got Messier Letterkenny. It was the Messier Award, though. And it went to Derek England. And it was a nice win for England. He had a very big year this year. Kind of a forgotten guy in Calgary, and I don't mean that in terms... I know Flames fans are like, we didn't forget him. I just mean around the league. This was kind of a coming out year for England, that everybody realized what a great guy he was, natural leader, this kind of thing. And that award definitely went to the right guy. And the part played up on stage again by the guys from Letterkenny, I feel kind of bad. So I think the reason the guys from Letterkenny were up there is because Letterkenny's now available in the States on, I believe it's on Hulu. So this was kind of a cross-promotion thing, but they didn't mention it when they were up there. So it's kind of like they're up there, and you could tell the crowd didn't really know who they were, because Letterkenny's a Canadian thing, so it was weird. If they'd come out in Toronto or something like that, it would have been much bigger. Then they did a mini-movie, which lost me right away, because they talked about Pritchard getting hurt and not being able to hand off the cup, and I'm like, wait, when did that happen? And then I realized it was a comedy sketch, and it was really kind of awkward too. I really honestly didn't get the whole thing. I tuned out about halfway through, and I just thought it was dumb. I didn't laugh at all during the whole thing. I didn't think it was it. Sometimes there's cringeworthy stuff that happens, and this might have been one of those things. I'm glad that didn't go on too long. Then they talk about Scott Foster. And Jim Belushi brought out Scott Foster, and that was nice. It was nice of them to talk about Scott Foster. And then, of course, Belushi talked about pulling a hammy or something when he got called by Bill. I don't know. He talked about I was the emergency goaltender. And again, I'm listening to Jim Belushi, and I'm thinking, I like Jim Belushi. I genuinely do. And I might be one of the few people who watched According to Jim and thought it was a really funny show. And I used to watch all the Jim Belushi movies because I thought he was a really good actor. And I liked that he kind of was in these police procedurals and these action movies, but he didn't look like an action hero, and he seemed like a down-to-earth guy. But I didn't think he was particularly funny tonight. Scott Foster delivered a couple of lines, but again, he's not an actor. And it just seemed kind of odd. So I was glad Foster got up there. I was glad that he got to say his piece. But they moved on from that, and the Vezina Trophy went to Pekka Rinne. Which, again, very nice. Rinne seemed genuinely moved by the moment that he finally gets recognition as best goalie in the league for 2017-18. And he earned that. He 100% earned that. Fantastic year he had, and I'm glad he won it. For me, Pekka Rinne was the best goaltender in the year from wire to wire. Vasilevsky had points. Connor Hellebuck had points where he might have been the best. But overall, when you look at the whole season, it was Pekka Rinne. GM of the year, no surprise it goes to George McPhee. None. Zero, zilch, none, no. McPhee was, it really honestly isn't even that close. First year team goes to the Stanley Cup final, you have to give that GM an award for how well the team did. Then they did the second card trick, which was awkward. And with the blocker up, the magician goes like this, and the other guy, the assistant or whatever, goes, put the blocker down. And as soon as he did the put the blocker down, I went, all right, so he's watched two tricks tonight. Don't show people that you can't do the trick if the hand's in a certain position. Don't find some less awkward way of doing it. And all I could think was, you're in Vegas, couldn't you get Penn and Teller? Don't Penn and Teller care about hockey at all? Couldn't you get Teller? Teller's funny. Even if he doesn't even have to talk, he's funny. Teller could have done all kinds of tricks, and then he would have showed us how he did them, and it would have been great. So it was just this weird time waster. And remember, this is an award show that went overtime. So why do you have a card trick time waster in there? Maybe it was to separate from all the down notes in this, the reviewing of tragedies that occurred this year. At any rate, they go to commercial, announcing they're going to give out the Willie O'Ree trophy when they come back. It's the first year they're giving out the Willie O'Ree contract for in the world of hockey for your efforts in the hockey community, and it goes to Darcy Hogan, coach of the Humboldt Broncos. And I have to say, when they did this, and they did this whole tribute to Humboldt, the Broncos, and they talked to some of the players, and they showed some of the rehab, and all I could think was, I really need to go up there and meet these kids. That's all I could think was, I really want to go up there and meet these kids. And it's not on my map for this summer, but I need to do that. I need to go up and meet these kids. It was again moving, and it was the third, the third sobering thing that gets mentioned during this, and that's hard. It was a tough year for hockey this year, and it felt like it was a tough year for hockey. And the Humboldt tribute was very well done. And I also want to point something else out. Tonight was a big night for Gary Bettman, and he gets a lot of crap thrown at him for the way that he discusses Canada and this and that, and people, oh, he's not even a hockey person. They showed him at all of these points. He had tears in his eyes for all of it. I didn't see him. I think he was a basket case for most of this. And there were a lot of players that were too. I'm just pointing out that Gary Bettman, for the cold lawyer persona that he gives off, there is a heart in there somewhere. And I'm really hoping to get an interview with him at some point this summer or sometime soon. Because I really think it would be interesting just to talk to him. And I don't have to talk about Quebec or anything like that, or hit him with something major. I just sit and talk to him about hockey and stuff. And if Quebec comes up casually, see where that happens, where that goes. But I thought that his demeanor tonight was big. I thought he was, and all of these situations where people are talking about the NHL and the NHL's presence and how it has helped through all these tragedies. Bettman is in this. Bettman has a say in this. Bettman behind the scenes is one of the guys saying we need to help. So while I can definitely criticize Bettman when he deserves it, and I give as much as I have to when I think he deserves it. I think there's credit to be given to the entire National Hockey League, to its coaches, general managers, owners, players, as well as to the commissioner for the way that all of this was handled, for the way that this was put together tonight. I think it was very well done. Then the Hart Trophy, and I'm wearing jersey because Taylor Hall wins it. Here's the thing that bothered me, and this may have been camera work just in Canada. I'm not sure if they did it in the States too. I'm not sure how this worked. They show Taylor Hall giving his speech, and who did they cut to while Taylor Hall was giving his speech? Connor McDavid. And I thought, that's some interesting camera work. To cut to Connor McDavid from Taylor Hall. That's kind of weird. Couldn't you cut to somebody else? No? Alright then. Fantastic. After Taylor's speech to end the night, they then brought everybody out there from Stoneman Douglas hockey team, Humboldt, the Vegas first responders all up on stage, along with award winners, and it was a nice way to end the night. I'm not going to ignore the fact that the Maurice Richard Trophy goes to Alex Ovechkin. It's the 7th time he's led the league in goals, which ties him with Bobby Hull in that category. So Alex Ovechkin's definitely taking his place now as the all-time leader. Notice I don't have up here the Linda Carter points in the show. The only things I'll say about Linda Carter is this. I do believe she's a Capitals fan. She looks incredible for her age. And her segments were kind of, if you could take them out. Some of these little segments to pad out the time when you're going over. Anyways, it was a fun night. It was well put together. I can't look at a single award and say, well, the wrong guy won that award. There wasn't a single award I looked at tonight and felt that way. Are there awards up here that guys got awards that I didn't say would? Yes. Does that mean that I'm mad about? No. I've never claimed to be infallible on any of this. I just give you guys an opinion, and I value an opinion of a subscriber as much as I value my own, because I don't know anything more than you guys do for the most part on most issues. So this was a good night. It was a big night for Vegas. You see Vegas on here 4 times. And I know when they got up to GM of the Year, I'm like, oh, can I find the 4th Vegas? Because I've got 9 of each team in these, but they're kind of scattered. So I'm kind of like, oh, crap, can I find it in that one bag? And I did. So I was very glad, because when you've got 9 of each team and you got 31 teams, it's a lot of magnets. Anyways, and that's not even the minis. These are just the other ones. So anyways, it was a big night for Vegas. I think it was a good night for hockey. And of all of the awards shows I've watched, this may be my new favorite. There have been some award shows that were kind of forgettable. Tonight felt different. It felt like they were important, and maybe it was the other things that were going on in the middle. And when they talk about the things that were happening this year was a challenge for a lot of players, and for a few communities. And it reminded me too that when I'm making my travels, the Stoneman Douglas hockey team, I'd love to meet those guys too. That's it. And the other thing that I saw being mentioned tonight, and they were talking about Willie O'Ree, and they talked about inner city stuff that's going on with hockey. It's there. And we've discussed this before where, the league's not diverse enough, hockey's not diverse enough. It's there. And it is growing. It's just not growing as fast as what you see with other sports. And it doesn't get the press that other sports get in the U.S. because it is seen as a regional sport. But it's there. And it is nice to see that kind of outreach is happening. So there are feel-good stories in and amongst everything else that's going on. And sometimes out of tragedy comes a feel-good story as well. There are good things that can come out of that. So there you go. The 2018 NHL Awards. My review of said awards. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And this was kind of fun. I will see you guys at the draft in 2 days. And by at the draft, I mean watching it here. I'm not actually going to Dallas to the draft. I really wish I could. I got my passport. I can think about it, but I don't think that's not gonna. There's no way that I can just do that. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.